Aren't we lucky to have my Elisa? She just does such a fine job. Welcome. This is our church service for First United Methodist Church, and it's wonderful to see y'all here. It's been a long time, and we see a few people now and again. My name is Marcy Ratzlaff, and I'm your worship leader for the day. We have a couple of announcements, one or two from the pulpit here, that you need to be sure and sign the attendance pads, so we have a record of your being here, and we can each, if we don't know the person down the road, we can get to know you. We have your name. Also, there are blue pads in the back of the pews. If you have a prayer request and you would like us to mention that during our prayers this morning, please hold those up during the opening hymn, and the usher will come and collect them, and I can remember then to say something in our prayers, to acknowledge those prayers as well. We have at least one announcement.
So first off, we just wanted to say thank you because we have filled almost all of our spots for Family Promise. Woo! Yeah, so lots of folks have offered to stay overnight. Lots of folks have offered to make meals. So we are this close to being able to provide for this ministry. We do still need just a little bit of help. If you would be willing to come, and all you have to do is sit downstairs for 3 hours. That's all you got to do. Tonight, Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, I will be here, or Jody will be here to unlock the door. She'll explain where the plates are. We're using all disposable plates because it's so hot we don't want to start that dishwasher downstairs. So literally all you have to do is sit downstairs. So come see us after the service. Yes? Thank you.
Please stand in body or spirit and join in the call to worship. Here I am, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. If you lead me, I will hold your people in my heart. Please join in singing number 344, Lord, you have come to the lake shore. it's wonderful that we, as a group, can carry on, and I appreciate that. Thank you all. We have a few prayer requests. We have some global requests. We ask that the Lord be present at the war in Ukraine, that he work towards peace in the hearts of those folks who are creating the turmoil. We remember those people who have lost their lives there and those who may in the future. We also ask that the Lord would be with us during the natural disasters that we are facing right now. Creator God, please be with the folks who are dealing with floods in Kentucky and Arizona. Be with the people who are dealing with the wildfires in California. Be with all the responders who have responded to deal with those catastrophes. We also ask, Lord, that you would help with the heat wave that's going throughout our nation, and particularly here. We ask that people would be safe, that they would be able to cool off, that the pets would be safe as well. Be with those folks, Lord, and with us. We have a request from Blake Ballard, prayers for Linda, who is still having health issues. Lord, she's been through an awful lot. It would be nice to have those issues resolved. From Judy, who is requesting prayers for her old friend, Bob, who is suffering from severe anemia, and the doctors don't know why. We ask, Lord, that you would heal him. You would lay your healing hands on Bob. Doris asks prayers for Andrea Beckett, who is recovering from neck surgery. She will come home next week, and she needs our prayers and phone calls, cards, concerns. We ask, Lord, that you hear these prayers, that you deal gently and with mercy on all of these folks who are in need. We also, Lord, request that you hear the prayers of our hearts. We humbly ask that you consider these prayers, that you answer these prayers in the name of the one who taught us to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Readings for today, 2 of them are from Isaiah and 1 of them is from Matthew. Isaiah 45, verse 2. I will go before you and level the mountains. I will break in pieces the doors of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. For the Lord, that's the first one. The second one is Isaiah 51, verse 3. For the Lord will comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places and will make her wilderness like Eden, her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness will be found in her thanksgiving and the voice of song. Matthew 19, verse 13. Then the little children were being brought to him in order that he might lay his hands on them and pray. The disciples spoke sternly to those who brought the children, but Jesus said, Let the little children come to me, and do not stop them, for it is to such of these that the kingdom of heaven belongs. And he laid his hands on the children and went on his way. Charla's children is a true story. But first, I need to let you know how I became involved in this particular mission. 3 years ago, my daughter came to me and asked me to go on a mission trip with her and a group to Colonial Vicente Guerrero. I was too old, I was inadequate, I wasn't energetic enough, but my daughter had asked. So, and when your kids ask, you really want to say yes. So I prayed about it. And God said, I will not desert you. And that's how I ended up spending a week in mission with a group from Orchards Community Church in Lewiston. I spent a week on holy ground. This is where the true story comes in. Charla Perot is a remarkable woman with great faith in God. She and her husband often went from Southern California into Baja, into Mexico, and passed out donations of food, blankets, clothing, whatever they had accumulated that people in those poor communities needed. Well, once they were passing out this stuff and they were wandering around, and it was later and later, and they were lost in Baja with no town in sight and very little gas left, and it's like midnight. They came across some derelict buildings. This is one of them. And a woman was living there. She invited them in, offered to put them up for the night, and told them she would have gas for them in the morning. She and her son had 9 children living with them in these derelict buildings. It was a home for children. The next morning, Charla got up early and went for a walk and looked back at the buildings, a movie theater, motel, a casino. They'd been built as a recreation area for wealthy folks, but the wealthy folks never came. So the buildings were getting worse and worse. So she looked at these buildings, a crumbling motel, and she heard the laughter of children, but no one was there. She looked across the dirt fields and she saw waving grain and gardens, and she looked back at the buildings and they were restored. A complete mission was what she saw in her vision, and she thought, this must be a place meant to be a home for children. She was determined to make this vision a reality. She made lots of weekend trips back and forth from Baja to Southern California, taking donations, bringing lots of donations from friends, churches, businesses to support this home for children. From this very humble beginning of derelict buildings housing 9 children and a caregiver, the Hogar para Niños, Home for Children, became a mission. This is vision. This is where we stayed and where we had classes. And you can see it's dirt. There were many, many setbacks and hazards. It wasn't an easy task. It was very difficult to get to this point where they have these buildings. But for every crisis, every difficulty, a solution would appear. God was turning her vision into a reality through a combination of God's miracles, the generosity of many, many donors, and the hard work of many, many volunteers. The current mission is governed by a board of directors through the foundation of his ministry. It houses and provides schooling for about 80 children from infancy through high school age. It provides medical and dental services in an on-site clinic, and there is a shop that designs and creates and adapts bicycles and wagons and all kinds, scooters, all kinds of things for handicapped children. My assignments were in the nursery and then in the kitchen, helping with meal preparation and cleanup, and others worked in the gardens and on the grounds, cleaning up the prayer garden, and my daughter worked with the on-site nurse. They went out on community calls and worked with people in the community as well as people in the home for children. In addition to the home for children, the daycare is run by the mission. It's a community daycare for nursery children through age 8. The daycare was built by the state social services agency. But when they had this beautiful building built, the social services agency didn't really have people to run it. So they approached the mission and said, will you do that? And the foundation agreed if it could be run as a Christian daycare. And the Mexican Social Services Agency said yes. And that's how the daycare came to be a Christian daycare. And I worked with the preschool children. You can see them, they're the ones doing the art project, and then they're also lined up with their hands on their shoulders going out to play. And my daughter is the one in the turquoise jacket in the back. The mission also provides community outreach to the surrounding community, town. So how that worked was we all piled into a car with a leader whose name was Roger, and he drove through the town, and as he drove, he called out through a megaphone, "Niñas, niños, come for Bible school." Of course, he was saying it in Spanish, but I don't know how to say that. And the children followed as if he were a Pied Piper. So by the time we stopped the car and got to a church, there were children already there waiting for us. So those of us that were volunteers, we played with the kids both inside, but initially outside playing jump rope and all those typical kids stuff. And then we moved inside, and while we were doing that, Roger was traveling to the school to pick up the after-school kids, the kids that had just finished school, and bring them for a Bible lesson. After the Bible lesson that Roger taught, and in which all the kids learned the verse of the day, whatever it happened to be, I don't remember, but each day they had a different Bible verse to learn, we gave the kids snacks. Now the kids had to bring their own cup and their own spoon, and we passed out peanut butter and milk, a spoonful of peanut butter and a cup of milk. I got to pass out the peanut butter. There's pictures from the daycare. There's Roger, and then there's some of the kids. Again, I think my daughter's in the back in pink. Is she? Yeah, that's her. The foundation also has a men's rehabilitation center called Rancho de Cristos, and you can see it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's a completely biblically based program, and Some of the men that come there were recruited as youngsters, as 9 and 10-year-olds, and they come as adults, and they spend a year to a year and a half in this Christian facility. While they're here, they learn marketable skills, construction, maintenance of the grounds and buildings. They might have go to a trade school. There's an auto shop. There are places to learn crafts like leather work and glass work. It's a program that focuses on restoring families and giving men the tools to re-enter the world, knowing that they don't have to fall prey to the drug culture, regardless of how tempting that is. This is another picture. I think that's men's dorm behind there. And while we were there, our group painted some of the white rocks. The facility is outlined with lots and lots. The roads and paths are outlined with white rocks, as you can see. There's also a women's shelter for abused women, a safe place where women come and they too can learn a marketable skill. They enroll in a program, sewing, hairstyling, baking, and when a woman completes the program, whether it's whatever skill it's for, she then becomes paid for the jobs that she does. And she can save that money while she's still living at the women's shelter. And when she earns enough money, the shelter has plots of land, small plots, that she can buy. So she owns that plot of land outright. And then as that is paid for and she earns more money, she can put a house on it, a small house. The miracles continue. Recently, a U.S. company upgraded their computers. Oh, that's the men's, that's the men's rehab center there. And I think that building may be no, it's not the church. Anyway, this program, they upgraded their computers, a business in Southern California, and they approached the foundation and said, can you use some old computers? We have brand new ones. So they hauled these computers then to the women's shelter in Mexico. And the problem was that nobody knew what to do with them. Well, a short time later, a church group came for their week in mission, and one of the volunteers said, I don't know what you're going to do with me. I'm an IT guy. Well, they knew exactly what they wanted to do with him. And by the time his week was over and his church was ready to leave, he had formatted all the computers, got them all up and running, and had also taught all the women how to use the computers, how to operate them. God had again provided exactly what was needed at just the right time. Charla's vision is indeed becoming a reality by God's design. It is truly a home for all children of different ages where lives are changed. It is a holy place. Amen. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing Spirit Song number 347. Go now in peace. May the love of God enfold you everywhere you may go, remembering always you are held gently and deeply loved.